Hello and welcome to the Idiomatic Soft channel. In this video we are talking about working from home as a software engineer. I'll be talking about the good things, the bad things, and giving some advice if you are interested in doing it. So if you like this topic, please stay tuned. So let me tell you a bit about myself. I'm a software engineer. I've been working from home since 2018, so that's already 5 years. And what I do is I do mostly software development and some consulting occasionally. So how did I start working from home? My first two jobs were very flexible. My bosses didn't care whether I was at the office or at home as long as the work was being done. So I tried already to work from home, but both jobs required a lot of coordination with colleagues, and in the other one it was both with colleagues, vendors, and also clients. So the office was much better equipped to do those things, and I had to go almost all the time. In the end, I was working all the time in there. And my first actual full-time role from home was when I was hired for a company overseas. The company was in another continent, so there was no option to go to the office, so I had to learn to work within the boundaries of my home. And there I started to equip my home and to learn the good habits to work from home. That was my first experience, and that lasted for 4 years. And after that I started working for another company, also remotely and also from home. And this time it is much easier, as I already have the good habits, the good gear, and everything needed to work from home. So how is it to work from home as a software engineer? The standard thing is to have normally at least one meeting a day. That would be the stand-up meeting, where you present what you have done and present your plan for the day. Usually we are using agile methodologies, and they are very well suited for this kind of job from home. And then you do your job, and sometimes you have a check-in meeting at the end or in the middle of the day just to coordinate with colleagues. It's a way to simulate the water cooler conversations, but job oriented. So you present what you have done, you ask if you have questions. So it works more or less like that. So most of the day spent coding and some meetings a day. Of course, maybe if you have another role more focused on leadership, you might have much more meetings. But for a developer, it's mostly coding and some meetings. Depending on your situation, there might be a lot of things. For me personally, the biggest benefit I have is that I get to have lunch with my family every day. I'm very big on family, so for me that's a big win. The second benefit that I enjoy the most is that I get an extra hour because I don't have to commute to work. When I went to the office, I needed to go there and get back, and that took at least 1 hour in total. So I get 1 hour back, and I can use it to make these videos, or to get a hobby, or to spend time with my family. And the third thing is the flexibility that you get. So don't misunderstand me, that flexibility is that you can do whatever you want. But you can work from wherever you are most of the time. For example, recently my wife stayed at the hospital and she was recovering there, and I was able to work from the hospital. So my employer was very supportive and didn't require me to work, but it gave me peace of mind to know that even if my employer was not supportive, I would be able to go and take care of my family and also provide for them at the same time. So those are mostly the benefits about working from home. at least for me, are the bad things about working from home. The first thing is that it can become a bit lonely. So if no one is at home while you're working, you will be home alone for 8 hours every day. And depending on your personality, that might be a problem. For example, I'm an introvert, so that's not an issue for me, that's an advantage. But I understand that for some people it can be very hard to be lonely all day. Also, you can have the opposite problem. If there are people in the house can be noisy and your office might be calmer. So you might have that kind of problem. Another problem that you have is that you need to buy some gear and you need to dedicate some space in your home for your office. That would mean that you have one less space in your home for your actual home, because one of your rooms or one space is dedicated to your office. And also you need to buy some gear, and that can become expensive. For example, you might want to have nice noise cancelling headphones. You might want to have also a second monitor. You might also want to have a very good desk or a very comfortable chair. Those are investments that you need to make if you want to work from home long term, and they will make your life easier. But of course, having to spend that money to buy those things is something that you need to consider either in your budget or also in your salary negotiation. So if you are working from home, you will need to keep that gear up to date and maintain it. So it's important that you consider that in your budget. What are the key differences between working from the office and working from home? For me, the most important difference are how relationships are built. At the office, it is very easy to build relationships. You are there with your colleagues, you are sharing a meal with them, you can see them wherever you want and see if they are busy, and building relationships happens more naturally. However, when you are at home, you just see them in the normal meetings and when you have a problem. So you don't have lunch with them or you don't share with them at other times. So building the relationship can be a bit harder. And depending on your role, so for example, if you're a coder and you don't interact too much with other people and you just code and do your task and move your Jira ticket, then that's not an issue. But if you are a team leader and you need to build those relationships to keep your team cohesive, then you need to make an extra effort. And working from home makes that a bit difficult, a bit more difficult. And the important thing is that you need to be conscious that you need to make that effort. So that would be the main difference I see, how relationships are built and the effort that you need to put to build those relationships with your colleagues. Are there other things other than relationships that are different when working from home? What I would say is your work environment. So, depending on your situation, you might have a work environment at the office that is an open space and that might become noisy. At your home, if you have a spare room and you have the privilege of having one and it is quiet and your home is quiet in general, then the difference is very big. So of course you might have the opposite problem, that your office is very calm and your home is very noisy. So that I would say is the other big difference. So the work environment, depending on your situation, your home might be much better. And I've mentioned a lot that I'm an introvert and that helps me a lot to work from home. So what about extroverts? What I would say to extroverts thinking about working from home is that they will face challenges that are different from the challenges an introvert faces. But in the end, they are just challenges and they can be overcome. For example, if you need more social interaction, you can from time to time go to work to a co-working space. I have done that sometimes, and the environment is completely different. It's very close to an office. You have people to talk with during your breaks, and you really feel that you are part of something. You can also use the extra time that you get because you are not commuting to go and have a coffee with a friend and refill your energies by having social interactions. In my case, that would do exactly the opposite. But what I would say to you if you are an extrovert is that you just need to take those challenges and find solutions. Being at home is very flexible, so I think it is very, very probable that you will find a good solution to the different challenges that you will find working from home as an extrovert. What are some things to consider if you want to work from home? The first thing, of course, is to have an employer that is on board with the idea. And if you don't have one, to find one. The second thing that I would say is to get support from your family. You will be at home and they need to know, and you need to set some boundaries with them that while you are at home working, it's like if you are not there. So you need to be able to work without interruptions, and your environment and the people around you need to respect that. Otherwise, you cannot work. So that's a very important thing. Another thing that you need to consider is that you need to have some discipline. You cannot let your work at home interfere with your life at home. So to do that, you need to be clear about your working hours and try not to work after or before them, and have a lot of discipline about that. For example, in my case, what I try to do is I try not to work after my working hours. When I have something urgent to do, I prefer to start working earlier, even much earlier, but I try to respect my after work hours. So in your case it might be different, but the important thing here is to set the times for work and respect them. And you also need some help there from your colleagues, that they are not calling you outside of your working hours, and that is part of the company culture. In my experience, the companies that I've worked for have been very respectful. There has been a very good culture of respect towards the time after and before the office. So I never got that kind of interruptions. But if your company is different, you have to take that into account. And the latest thing is that you will need to buy some gear, so prepare yourself to buy a very comfortable chair. That's very important. You will spend 8 hours of your day sitting in that chair, at least if your work is performed while sitting. And you'll need a desk and probably a second monitor for your computer. That helps a lot. And make your environment as comfortable as possible, because you will spend 8 hours of your day in there, and your back will thank you for the nice chair and the nice desk. So those are the tips I would give you if you are considering starting working from home. Thanks a lot for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you liked it, please subscribe and click on the little bell to get notifications when I release a new video. Thank you.